Hi, it's Michael Cooper. I'm with the Private to IPO Partnership Network, and we are taking a look at and listening to CEOs who are leading their companies from the private sphere to an exit strategy. These are companies that are top-notch, gold standard in their industries, and know what it takes to grow their company to a successful exit. Welcome, Sunil Thomas, co-founder and CEO of CleverTap. Sunil, can you tell us about what your vision was behind CleverTap when you and your partners started the company?
Yeah, hi Michael. The vision was to make mobile app and website user engagement really timely, contextual, and personal for everybody, and to do it in a cost-effective, intuitive way for marketers and sort of product owners, app owners.
And in this vision, you didn't see that this was being done well by others. Is that correct?
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely, that is correct. There are very sophisticated, expensive products that try this, and there are, really low-end sort of products that, that do a very small part of it. So we didn't find a comprehensive solution that we could realistically use.
So you got together with Suresh, your CTO, and Anand, one of India's most powerful men, to form CleverTap. How did that group come together? Had you worked together before in the past?
Absolutely, yeah. So we worked together for almost 5 years at our previous, company before CleverTap, a big company called Network 18. It's like a big media conglomerate. And it's funny because we, as part of working together, we almost know each other personally, families and at a very personal level before even CleverTap was conceived many years before that. So we're all seasoned, CTOs. We've all been CTOs before that, experienced through. And that's part of the thing. Like all of us have individually struggled in our own CTO lives to, come up with this. We've built one-off solutions using engineering resources, using IT resources. But the problem is that it's one-off and nobody invests in building a product. So finally, it all sort of came together in that sense.
Okay. So you start the company. You've got a vision for the company. You put together the original team that was going to work with you. Tell us about the development of the company kind of from the start, and then how you got to combining the analytics and the user engagement into a product. And can you tell us why it's so important to combine these features into one offering?
That's a good question. Maybe I'll take the second half first. Like the combination is actually one of the cornerstones of our offering, and it's really why the solution works for our customers, I think. Overall, it's just a lot more effective. And, maybe I can explain it with a real-world, offline example. Think of like a big electronics store, like a Best Buy, right? Mm-hmm. Imagine there were floor staff at the Best Buy, and one person's job was to just observe what shoppers are doing, meaning the analytics side of it, and another person's job was to interact with that person. So I'm the observer, I'm standing in the aisles, and I'm looking at somebody, struggling with the product, maybe looking at, components, trying to read what's on the label, trying to find out, what's the resolution of this TV and so on, right? And really needs help. Now, I as the observer then find the engagement person. I have to actually transfer all of that knowledge. This guy's been at this aisle for like 20 minutes. He's looked at these 3 products and so on and so forth. And you just lose the fidelity no matter how good and tight these 2 people are. In contrast, if it's one person, one salesperson or one customer service person who's looking at people, right, shoppers, and you see somebody struggling with a complicated product, walks up, has all the context, has been watching, that user for the last 5 minutes, and can totally know what to talk to that person about. So this, if you convert, online, it's very critical to have all of your understanding of the user's behaviors, users, sort of profile attributes and demographics and whatever, when you engage with the person. And if you use an analytics product that's separate from your engagement product, which is sending messages, it's just not as effective. You just lose. There's a lot of manual work involved. There's just a lot of fidelity you lose in order to
Yes.
talk effectively, so to speak.
That's a great example. That absolutely clarifies it in my mind what's going on. And using that real world scenario is really what we need to be doing more of online, don't we?
Absolutely. We totally need to be doing this online, and it's just not done. I mean, today, it's one of specifically with the advent of mobile and such mass spread of it in such a short time, right? Like the smartphone, it's almost taken people by surprise, right? I mean, we know email very well, right? We don't know mobile at all well because it's almost come upon marketers, too soon, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still being unveiled. It's still sort of people are struggling with how do I talk to such a personal device? You don't even share it with your spouse or your kids. You won't tolerate spam. It's just a very different thing as opposed to what your older desktop used to be.
Yes.
You check it the first thing and you wake up in the morning. All these things, right? Very, very different.
Mm-hmm. So when you started the company, was the first objective to build out the product and the platform and the infrastructure there and then start going to market, building your marketing team?
Absolutely, yeah. We started actually, and that was part of, the question that you asked me before that I may not have available. So we started the company with just the three of us co-founders, and we were actually coding it up. We were lucky that a friend of ours offered a space. He had an office, and he said, "You can take one of my conference rooms. You can just sit there." So we used to go to a friend's conference room in his own office. We had access to coffee and the internet,
mm-hmm.
and the three of us started coding it up, and we started building this thing from scratch. And we were lucky to get some traction very, very early on. We got selected. We got invited for the in-person interview by Y Combinator, just literally 3 months after, into our development. We got our first customer who was ready to almost trust us, try us out when we barely had a small part of the product, but they got convinced on the vision of it. So yes, we started building it, we started coding it ourselves. We got the handful of initial customers that really was helpful, and we started getting some traction, validation all through the journey. So that was good.
It's an incredible timeline that you're working on.
Thank you.
In 2015, 2 years after you started the company, you attracted, I think it was about $8 million and two premium investors, Accel Partners and Sequoia, to your startup. You ramped up to around 30 staff, if I'm correct, and 2,200 customers in 3 years.
Yeah.
When you approached some of the top VCs and private equity funds, how important was it that you were well capitalized and you had some strong partners on the team right from the beginning? Do you feel that being well financed was an important point in getting a deal done with these marquee investors?
So these marquee investors is who's made us well financed. It's almost the other way around. We were in a friend's office and we were coding it. We got in 2014, actually a year before the 8 million, right?
Mm-hmm.
Accel Partners did a seed round with us for $1.6 million. That was our first funding event. And only after that, we hired our first team. And we hired 6 or 7, basically, product engineering people. Fast forward a year later, which is 2015, Sequoia came in and led an investment round of $8 million, in which Accel, as already existing owners, participated in the round.
Okay.
So these two investors that have actually made us well capitalized.
Okay, so you were not particularly capitalized when you first approached them.
Absolutely. We were not. We were, we just had a team and a vision and a thought, and yeah.
And have your investors brought additional advantages to the table in addition to the credibility of having them invest in you and the capital they provided?
Absolutely. And I think that's why we love. I mean, we would have probably got capital from multiple places, but we really have the best investors, I think, in the business. And, there's multiple things, right? It's just their experience and expertise of having run or been involved on the boards and senior positions with other SaaS businesses and mobile businesses and what have you. It's their networks, not only for getting intros to prospects and customers, but also for, recruiting the best in the world and so on. So it's just a lot of expertise, experience, networks, connections that they bring to the table. I mean, much, much more valuable, honestly. Money is always good, not like downplaying the money that they provide, but there's a lot more than that.
Mm-hmm. On your website, you publish some very attractive performance stats. A 10% increase in click-through on push notifications. A 73% increase in engagement post-install. And a 10 times increase in your ROI on retargeting campaigns. Those are fantastic stats. Have you automated this process quite heavily so that it is not overly dependent on clients' involvement? Can you give us a sense of when a client installs your system, how much input is needed on their end to support it? Or is it fairly self-serving on the back end?
Right. So I guess the overall model is a one-time effort model. I mean, we automate almost everything in terms of, when the campaign runs, who qualifies for it, and so on. But there is a one-time setup, if you will, meaning right from the design of the creative, the images you use, the subject lines you write, the messages you write within your push notifications and email and what have you, right?
Okay.
There is manual work involved in creating that kind of content. There's also manual work involved in creating one-time sort of campaigns, right? I mean, it may not even be marketing campaigns. Your systems are down and you just want to inform people saying, hey, stay tuned, we'll be back up in 1 hour, right? So these are not automatable, so to speak. I mean, we do this when your system is down.
Yes.
But for your sort of always on running campaigns, like, when people add something to their shopping cart but don't purchase within, 15 or 20 minutes, it's all, once you create that rule, it runs forever and it only qualifies people who match that criteria. The messages will be very personalized because we allow you to use the name of the person and everything that you have information of the person in those messages. So it's all automatic, it's all like dynamic for the most part. But you can't get away from having to physically create the content of the campaign. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. That makes it very easy for your clients to measure the ROI on your system.
Yeah, it totally does. In fact, for every campaign, we track it all the way to, most campaign products or vendors out there, track campaign results only to sort of clicks and opens and things like that, right? How many people received my email, how many people clicked on it, how many people opened it, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But we not only do that, we go all the way down and say, after he clicked it, did he come and look at products, or did he actually purchase a product, or did he share a video, or whatever the goal of your campaign was. So we're not only able to track, again, it's maybe back to the first question of why engagement and analytics together makes a whole lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's because when you engage and you click and you open and you come into the app, we are able to track your journey all the way through after that also. So we know 10 minutes later, you went and bought, or you went and did the thing that the campaign was essentially supposed to make you do.
Yes. No, fantastic. This is a very exciting company that you've founded or co-founded. What does the future look like for CleverTap in terms of new solutions, new channels to market, and future investment rounds?
Yeah, I'm really excited. The future is, I think, incredibly bright and honestly very, very exciting. I mean, there's more than, 10,000 applications going into different app stores every day.
Wow.
And like I said before, marketers haven't, or app owners really, haven't come to grips with the smartphone and the mobile users and all that stuff. So it's a very, very demanding audience because, the user base, because of the phone, is extremely demanding. You cannot be spammy if you're not timely, relevant, etc. You're just spam, and nobody will tolerate spam on their phone. So I think, it's so vast, the universe of new apps, websites, and all of that. It's just incredibly, there's an incredible opportunity out there, I feel. Nobody has solved the problem, but it is a competitive space. I mean, there are many people who are trying to solve the problem, right? So
Yes.
I believe it's because the market needs have not been met, I think. I mean, I don't think anybody has cracked the magic whip on this, so I think it's just incredibly fun journey to be in right now.
Yes. Well, my bet is that CleverTap is going to go a long way in this market.
I would love that to happen. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Sunil. We are going to continue to watch developments at CleverTap, and perhaps we can reach out and talk to you again in 6 months or so and see how you're doing then.
Would love to do that. Thanks a lot for the time. It was wonderful to talk to you.
Thank you, Sunil.
Bye.
Bye-bye.